My husband spent over $3,000 on World Cup tickets. We can't afford this, and I'm furious. I don't need any advice about what to do. I just need to get this out because of how absolutely furious I am. My husband bought 3 tickets for the World Cup, and each one cost over $1,000. I have been furious since I found out. We absolutely cannot afford this, and my husband knows it, but he still bought them. I found out he entered the most recent lottery to get tickets. I have since also found out that it was different from the previous lotteries. Instead of going online and buying tickets right when they went on sale, you had to submit a list of which games you wanted tickets for, and if you won the lottery tickets, and your credit card would automatically get charged. Our credit card was charged on Monday, and normally I get an alert whenever our card is used, but my husband deleted it from my phone before I saw it. It didn't see the charge until 2 days later, and I thought our card was compromised. I found out what the charge was, and I was still going to dispute it because we absolutely can't afford it. But my husband already paid it and confirmed he made that purchase. He took money from our emergency account. We have less than $100 in our emergency account now. Our emergency fund was low already because 2.5 years ago my husband lost his job and he was out of work for a year. We had to dip into our emergency savings a bunch of times while he was unemployed. He knows what our financial situation is like, and I can't believe he did this. If I didn't have some overtime shifts scheduled over the next 2 weeks, we would not be able to afford our next mortgage payment. I'm furious, and he says I'm overreacting. He says he's taking his dad and his brother to the World Cup because both of their birthdays are the same week as the game. But that doesn't mean we can afford to spend over $3,000. My husband said at least the tickets didn't cost $1,500 each, and he also dropped a bomb on me. He applied for tickets to every game that is being played in our city, and if he had won all the games, instead of just one, the total cost would have been over $12,000. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I asked my husband where we would have gotten that kind of money, and he just said we would figure it out. He tried telling me that Canada has a huge demand for World Cup tickets, so that's why it cost him over $1,000 per ticket. As if that is an explanation for what he did. I can't even explain how furious I am. We have been going to marriage counseling because of how strained things got after my husband got fired. But that's not going to cut it anymore. I have always been the breadwinner in our marriage, and that's never bothered me, but now this stupid decision he made it is the last straw. I tried to make it work, but I can't anymore. I'm going to get my ducks in a row and talk to a lawyer before I do anything with our finances. Then I am done with him. He thinks I'm overreacting and that all of this is big joke. I'm done. Also, I'm going to turn off chats. I don't need to be called a doormat or other names. I'm not going to marriage counseling anymore, and I'm leaving him. I don't need to hear I'm spineless over and over. I get it. Relevant comments commenter 1, so he's using your money and not even taking you OOP. I don't watch or follow soccer at all. Even if we could afford tickets, I wouldn't go to a game. I do understand your point, but a ticket would be wasted on me. I would just be bored the entire time. Commenter 2, so congratulations on your new and separate bank account to which he does not have access. OOP. I won't be doing that or anything related to our finances until I speak with a lawyer. One of my friends went through a divorce and her husband faced consequences in court for separating money and withdrawing financial support, and I do not want that to happen to me. I'll only be following advice from my lawyer. Commenter 3, sell the tickets on the secondary market, make a loss into a win. Depending on the match, you could make 2 or 3x. OOP, I don't have the tickets. My husband had them and I have no idea how I would even access them. Now he's telling me he transferred them to either or his dad or his brother. He won't say which one because he doesn't want me to able to ruin this for them. I'm done with him over this. Commenter 4, tell his father about it. If not for anything but to cause some chaos before you leave. I'm not normal for this, but assuming his father isn't the reason for the way he is, it might end up with your soon-to-be ex-husband learning a real lesson since this clearly isn't getting to him. Maybe you'll even end up with your money back and be rid of the leech who lost it in the first place. OOP. His dad doesn't care, and neither does his brother. Commenter 5. They can support him now. If it were me, I'd be locking down finances, freezing credit, closing joint accounts, and stashing money in a new account at a bank or credit union he knows nothing about, and I'd do it all quietly. Then, as soon as he leaves for the game, I'd start packing his stuff so he can move it to his dad's or brother's. Financial infidelity is a trust destroyer. You deserve to work for you, not a spongy guy who shows you no respect or appreciation. You're clearly capable. I bet you'll be way better off by this time next year. OOP. The World Cup is in June and July. I'm not waiting until then to leave. I'm leaving him now. I'm going to speak to a lawyer and get all my ducks in a row. I want to find out what financial obligations I have towards him before we get divorced. My friend's husband got in trouble for withdrawal of financial support when he left. The court did not like that he did that while they were still married. I don't want that to happen to me, so I need to talk to a lawyer before I do anything with money. I also have to make plans to move because our condo is in both of our names, and I already know I can't force him to leave if he doesn't want to. I will ask the lawyer how to go about that. Commenter 6. Report it as fraud to your credit card company OOP. I did. The credit card company said it isn't fraud because my husband already made payment and confirmed it was his purchase. I'm not giving up, but credit card company won't budge. Update. July 12, 2026. Nearly 5 months later, update to my husband, spent over $3,000 on World Cup tickets. We can't afford this, and I'm furious. I'm the person whose husband spent over $3,000 on World Cup tickets, leaving less than $100 in our emergency account. He tried to justify it by saying Canada had a huge demand for tickets, and that's why it cost over $1,000 per ticket. Meanwhile, if I had not had some overtime shifts scheduled at work, we would not have been able to afford our next mortgage payment because the money in the emergency fund was all gone. The emergency fund already was low because 2.5 years ago, he lost his job and he was out of work for a year. We had to dip into our emergency fund a bunch of times while he was unemployed. He knew how precarious our financial situation was, but he thought World Cup tickets were more important. I posted 5 months ago, and my update is just a small one, but I have left him and am seeking a divorce. I moved out 4 months ago. We had been going to marriage counseling because of how strained things got after he got fired from his job for the second time during our marriage, but the World Cup tickets were the nail in the coffin. Before I moved out, he had the gall to complain to me about how we couldn't afford some of his favorites from the grocery store. If it wasn't for me working some overtime, we wouldn't have been able to buy any food at all. I have already hired a lawyer, and since there was no case for a fault divorce, I have to be separated from him for a year in order to get a divorce. Although my lawyer said the only thing filing on a fault ground does is forgo the 1-year waiting period. It doesn't affect the settlement or the division of assets. I may have to pay some spousal support since I was the higher earner, but it's a small price to pay for being rid of him. He doesn't want a divorce. He asked me to stay and continue marriage counseling. He still went to the game 3 months after I left, while also telling me I should stay. Also, to address some things from my first post that kept coming up, his dad and brother did not care about him spending our emergency fund on the tickets. His dad, his brother, and his friends thought he was right. We all live in the city where the game was played. No one would have had to get a flight or a hotel. I don't watch soccer, and even if we could have afforded tickets, I wouldn't have gone to a game. My anger was about him draining our emergency fund. It wasn't about me not being invited to the game. Instead of going online and buying tickets right when they went on sale, you had to submit a list of which games you wanted tickets for, and if you won any games you applied for, your credit card would automatically get charged. He applied for tickets to every game that is being played in our city, and if he had won all the games, instead of just one, the total cost would have been over $12,000. This was enough to tell me that our marriage was over. I am following the advice of my lawyer regarding finances and will not be fully withdrawing financial support as many comments in my first post suggested. I don't want to face consequences in the divorce proceedings and will follow my lawyer's guidance on how to proceed, no matter how much the comments double down on what I should do. As I mentioned in my first post, I am leaving my messages off because I don't need more people calling me spineless or to keep telling me I didn't leave him the correct way. Editor's note: OOP did not leave any comments in this update. Do not comment in linked posts or message OOPs. Bo, are you Rule 7? This is a repost sub. I am not OOP submitted by UChoice Evidence 1983 link comments. Drop your verdict in the comments. Wait, what?